Again, almost identical verbiage, same sequence. I've been saying this for years in my videos.
Hey y'all, Donna here. So, this may not be very smart of me to do because I know his followers, he has a lot of them, and they're very loyal, and this is the same community. Look, I like Frankie. I still I still watch his stuff. I watch everybody's stuff, but what he's doing, I think he's kind of honed in on somebody. It's kind of like in our nature as humans when something is going wrong or we think something is, or we want to look look to somebody else to blame. So I saw that's kind of what he's doing, and I should also say I could be completely wrong. He may be right. This may be exactly what's happening. Dr. Saladino may be stealing his content. I just, I don't think so because, like, we're all talking about the same stuff. You're in the same community, you have the same beliefs as so many other people. It makes sense that you're going to find a lot of other people talking about the same ideas and concepts as you are. It seemed like Frankie was trying to go to like some convention. It was like a keto carnivore convention thing. And he offered himself up to be like a guest speaker. And they said no. They had other people on the panel. I think it was like Michaela Peterson, Sean Baker, and maybe they mentioned Paul Saladino was speaking. And I guess he didn't recognize that name because since he's kind of new to the community, just fresh out of college. And I don't know, he just sort of honed in on him and saw him as like a target or someone that was ripping him off, and because he's talking about a lot of the same stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of odd to me. Why would a doctor who has learned all of this and collected information from countless places, including school, well, not most of these ideas, but why would he need to go and watch a bunch of YouTube videos of just one person and decide to rip him off from one person? The only compelling argument that Frankie really had, he showed messages between them and how he was accusing Paul, and then Paul replied. He replied that oh no, I've never even watched your videos, and then like the next comment he says I can articulate better than you anyway, so okay. And that was like, okay, like what? I thought you never watched my videos, so how can you articulate it better than me? But anyway, that was the only like suspect thing that I saw. And then the book thing, he named it the Carnivore Code, unlocking the da da da. That definitely sounds like Jason Fung's book, but hey, I'm not. I mean, maybe he thought it was a really great idea. Maybe he thought it was a really great idea, so he went ahead and used that. So I'm not gonna knock him for that. Yeah. So like looking at all of these things together, yeah, I don't know. And the problem is with him, he's held himself to such a high standard that he will never please himself. And most people in his situation should be very, very proud of themselves. They should feel like they've accomplished a whole lot. Does it? He overworks himself, I think, and like putting out content every day. You don't have to do that. You don't. And honestly, from reading comments and hearing what other people say, they don't necessarily want that or expect that. Just from being a viewer myself, I kind of like when someone puts out a content, every week or so, just whenever they're inspired, that's when I know I'm gonna look forward to that content, because it's like, oh, it's something juicy that I want to hear about, or something information that I didn't know about possibly. And so yeah, it's more anticipated. When somebody's putting out a video every single day, it feels like more like a job, and you're just like looking for things to talk about, and it's becomes redundant. And I think he should consider that. Consider taking a little bit of break. You're gonna lose your years to find a woman and have a family and settle down with. Don't do that to yourself. You know, he's worked so hard and he really does deserve a lot, but he's expecting so much more at this point, and I don't know, like, humble yourself a little bit. You may not want to hear that, but nobody invented these ideas, nobody in particular. So yeah, I'm gonna show you a few clips of what he's saying that has been ripped off from him, and then I'm gonna show just a handful of other people talking about the same concepts, the same ideas. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to, you're burning bridges. You don't want to go fighting with all these people that you want to collaborate with in this community. That makes no sense. You're just hurting yourself. So I can see having a feud with one person, two people, but at this point, it's like 5. I've counted. And I'm like, okay, I can see 3 Ridge, you know, like, he doesn't seem the smoothest person to get along with, whatever. Like I said, I watch all of these people, I don't care. You're just butting heads with everybody. I was watching Tristan last night, and I see him pop in the comments, like, yeah, you're, scheduling your live streams right when I do, on purpose, and I'm like, dude, seriously, do you really think that's what people are doing? So he started calling out Tristan. I think they were cool up until he started accusing Tristan of scheduling his live streams when he does. So, yeah, you're just, like, unnecessarily picking apart, you know, looking for people to fight with just because you are not succeeding at the rate that you expect you should be. And the thing is, you should be pretty proud of yourself. Even with his appearance, with, you know, aesthetics. It's like he's doing these surgeries and things. And like, for what? Dude, you looked good. Like, before his jaw surgery, he looked fine. But he thought he needed to do that. His, gyno thing where when he talked about that on a video, I'm like, what? I would never have noticed. What are you even talking about? Like, you're just picking things apart. So that's what I want him to know. That you're good enough. You know, you're good enough. You've been pretty successful, and you don't have to do this. You don't have to pick apart yourself. You don't have to pick apart other people. You're doing really good. You should be proud of yourself. And so, yeah, that's all I want to say.
There have been case reports of vitamin A toxicity, people taking vitamin A palmitate supplement, but you can eat a pretty decent amount of liver per day and not have vitamin A toxicity.
Now, what can we learn from actual cases of hypervitaminosis A? And all of these occurred in supplemental plant-based form, specifically retinol palmitate.
The ability of overdosing on liver is quite low. One would have to eat an amount of liver that provided several times the upper limit. If you're not eating the liver of carnivores, in other words, not eating wolf liver, big cat liver, polar bear liver, that kind of thing, then we're talking about herbivore liver. Herbivore liver does have a lot of vitamin A in it, maximal detoxification rate in order to experience acute vitamin A toxicity.
Has never been and never will be a case of vitamin poisoning. Eating tons of molecules of whatever nutrient is never going to harm you. If you would inject it straight into the blood, then of course it could harm you because that is unnatural.
Vitamin A is a nutrient, and it is not a toxin. However, like with many other things, too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. If we limit our discussion to normal fat-soluble vitamin A, for a 150-pound adult, we would require more than 10,000 IU of vitamin A taken over months to years, consistently every day, as an absolute minimum for what's been reported to cause toxicity.
This might be the most blatant, direct quote. Most of the other quotes, he changed the verbiage slightly, but this was practically word for word.
The thing is, the corn they're feeding them is sprayed with atrazine, which is this lipid-soluble toxin, and atrazine is part of a family of compounds called xenoestrogens, And these are compounds that can affect our hormones, specifically estrogen, by mimicking estrogen in the human body.
Feedlot meat is also loaded with xenoestrogens from herbicides that are used on grain and even sometimes grass. Atrazine is a xenoestrogenic herbicide and endocrine disruptor.
Put this right after mold is because it's commonly used in grains in North America. And you're going to see a common pattern here. And that is in Europe, totally illegal. In America, used all over the place. It's the second most used herbicide in North America.
When a chemical company, the largest chemical company in the world, asked me to use my expertise in studying frog hormones to try to understand if the chemical, their number one selling product, a weed killer, atrazine, if it interfered with their hormones somehow. Long story short, we examined the African clawed frog in my lab, we exposed them to this chemical atrazine, and we showed things like this. And these are testes, and you don't have to have a PhD or be a frog expert to see that there's a difference between the control and the exposed. How my work might imply things beyond frogs. So that if you look at men in Columbia, Missouri, and compare the atrazine in their urine, men who have atrazine in their urine have a low sperm count and can't get their wives pregnant.
This is great. How nice and convenient was it of me to make a video explaining what atrazine was just a few weeks before he was on this podcast.
We can go back 80,000 years and look at stable nitrogen isotope studies of collagen. So basically they look at different types of nitrogen in the bones of Neanderthal and Homo sapiens. And what they see is so much nitrogen, so the ratio of the nitrogen gives us a sense of what these people were eating.
Where did you get that study that did samples on collagen? And we can safely say that their main food source was meat. Oh, I know. This was from a video that I made several months ago on what a caveman's diet actually was. Coincidentally, he is making the same reference to cavemen using the exact same study I did in the exact same dietary community.
Here toward the top, those are Neanderthals. And the triangles, let me make sure I'm getting, no, the triangles are cavemen. Circles here are hyenas. So, and this axis here, that's nitrogen, so that's trophic level. So what we're seeing is that Neanderthals are more carnivorous than hyenas. They're hyper-carnivorous. And that's a lot of meat. So,
an availability equation. If I can go hunt a woolly mammoth and I can get a million, how many calories in a woolly mammoth? Like millions and millions of calories. It can feed the tribe for a week. Or I can go look for tubers. What am I going to do, right? There's no question what you're going to do in terms of calories and fat.
So, from a survival standpoint, from a procuring calories in nature standpoint, the amount of nutrition that one ruminant animal can give us is astounding.
If you look at the bioavailability and the presence of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, or the micronutrients, calcium, zinc, selenium, manganese, or the DHA and EPA, animal foods are the richest source. They're the best multivitamin we've ever encountered.
Kidney has all of the nutrients your body needs. The water-soluble B and C vitamins, all of the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, K2, all of the minerals, elements, and essential fatty acids that your body...
I don't even think I need to put any more clips in, especially for this point right here, because anyone in this community knows that animal foods are the most nutrient-dense, bioavailable sources of nutrition you can find. And not only that, and synergistic values. So we understand that you are getting everything. You are getting a full spectrum of nutrition when you have animal products that are of quality. So yeah, I can find countless clips of people talking about this. So that's about it.